There we
We
go.
are live here at the Oklahoma Election Board.
That's where we are.
And I am with Ed Bolt, our mayor. Ed, thank you so much for
I'm
this time.
happy to do it. I always enjoy doing these, Daniel.
Well, it is fun.
It is fun.
always.
Absolutely.
And we thank the County Election Board, which is right across the street from the courthouse as well, for allowing us to be here. But the reason we're at the County Election Board is because we have an election coming up,
We do, a week from today,
which would be a vote Monday, a week from tomorrow.
a week from tomorrow.
Tuesday.
right,
You
Tuesday.
can vote, though, also
Yes.
Thursday and Friday. And, you know, Ed, something that the city has implemented has been these little information sheets in the water bill.
Yes.
And I certainly have liked those a lot. What's your
Well,
thought?
I think they're great. I mean, the more ways we can get information out to people, the better. And, you know, it's hard. There's so many ways to get information out now. You've got to cover lots of bases.
Yeah.
So, you know, that works great. I think
does.
that's been awesome.
And when they come in the mail, sometimes they'll have a scan code that you can take your phone and you can scan the QR code,
Right.
tap on the website, and it's going to take you exactly to the information that you need for voting. And as you see, the website pops up right there where it says Start Up Information. This sheet will come up for you. And there's a lot of information
There is.
for the city charter. We have amendments that are being proposed for the city charter. As we look down the 7 propositions, we'll start talking about them. Proposition number 1, Ed, is for ward-specific voting for
Right.
commissioners. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, you know, for the last 50 plus years is what I'm told, we have elected our commissioners citywide. So obviously the mayor is going to be elected citywide because the city, you know, the mayor represents the whole city. But we've been doing that with our commissioners for a long, long time. So like when I was elected Ward 1 commissioner 5 years ago now, it was a citywide election.
Yeah.
But, you know, supposedly I was Ward 1 commissioner, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's no doubt that's what I was elected for, but the entire city voted for that. So the question was, do we want it to continue that way, or do we want to go to ward specific, where just the folks within that ward would elect the people that are going to represent them?
And I think that holds accountability as well, better
Absolutely.
accountability for the commissioners that are elected.
No, I agree. I'm wholeheartedly, in fact, I'm happy to tell you I've already voted because we vote by mail, and I have voted for every one of these. But I think it makes a lot of sense that if you allow the area that people live in to elect their representative and not have the other 5 wards do that for them. I mean, to me, that's just the right way to do things. So I wholeheartedly support that.
Well, that is how elections are handled now, let's say in state elections. We have representatives who represent a certain group of people. Not everybody in the state gets to vote for that representative or that district. This seems to bring it more into how elections are held
Absolutely.
statewide as well as
Right.
citywide. And I've heard a number of residents question this throughout the years about who's voting for my commissioner.
Right, absolutely. I'm all for it.
Another
I think
part of
that's a great
responsibility that it helps us because we become more familiar on who is representing us.
Right.
It's not, I mean, we actually, 3 people could actually choose your next commissioner if this passes. If only 3 people in your district or your
Yeah.
county, your commissioner area votes, 2 to 1
There you
can
go.
vote a commissioner.
That's right.
So
go out and vote.
That's right. We get to step up and vote.
That's right.
Let's tell you right here at the County Election Board, you can early vote on Thursday and Friday of this week. That's the Thursday and Friday before June 13th. Come right in the doors 8 to 6 p.m. So 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you can just present your card and vote right here. No matter what precinct that you're in.
And I believe it's like half a day on Saturday also.
Not this year.
Not this year.
No,
really?
not open
How
on
about that?
Saturday,
That's
but
a recent
Friday,
change then.
Friday and Saturday
Yeah.
for early voting,
Very
right here
good.
at the
That's
county
good to know.
election board.
Thank you for that.
So proposition number 2, streamlining the bidding process. Ed,
Right,
what's that
so
about?
this is, and there's 3 or 4 of these in here, that basically we're just going to change our language in our charter to match the state laws. So that's all we're doing, is we're gonna make this match the state laws.
So with that, let's go ahead and ID those real quick. That's proposition 2, streamlining the bidding process. Also, updating requirements for city employees.
Absolutely.
And is it the
5.
the
So 2, 4, 5,
and 7?
and 7. Yes, sir, that's
Okay, so
right.
5 is aligning conflict of interest policies,
Right.
and 7 is updating the policy for cemetery perpetual care.
Yes.
The cemetery issue, the conflict of interest
Mm-hmm.
issue, the requirements for city employees, and the streamlining the bidding process, all are to update our charter
Right.
to come more in line with the
state
state
law.
statutes.
Right, which if there was ever a conflict, like between our law and the state law, we know who's going to prevail on that.
Yeah,
It's
we
gonna
do
be-
not
it's
win
gonna be
those.
It's going to be the state law. And then, and truthfully, you know, in the years that I've been on the commission, we have changed our ordinances a number of times to get in line with state law. Sometimes state law will change, the legislature will make a change, and then we, after the fact, will then go in and change our ordinance to match state law, because if there's ever a conflict and it was to go to court, we're going to lose that.
Right.
So we get in line with state law as best we can.
So state law prevails over our city laws, and what it helps is this, is if there is a conflict there, we don't go to court, so we don't have to spend those monies
That's
as a
right.
city frivolously. And to point out, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can change ordinances very easily as a commission, as our elected body. But when it goes to changing something on the city charter, that's up to the residents
Right,
to make
that,
it happen.
that all has to be voted by the entire population. So changing an ordinance is a much more nimble process, but every bit of that is done in an open meeting, you know, there for everybody to see. I mean, we can't make any decisions. We have no power whatsoever, any of us on the commission, to do anything unless we are together in a legal meeting and an open meeting there in front of everybody. And so, I mean, it's not an easy process. It's all very above board.
Yes.
And
I like the word-
but it's much more nimble.
I like the word nimble for that, because in a charter, it's kind of like the Constitution.
Right.
It's hard to change, and it's
purposely.
only hard because we have to get out and make that decision.
Right.
We
Right.
cannot do it through our elected officials.
Absolutely.
So proposition number 3 is something that comes up because of recent changes to ordinances and policies. It is
Right.
clarifying a start date for newly elected mayor and commissioners. Talk about that.
Right. So we went to 1 meeting a month versus the 2 that we were doing. We were meeting the first and the third Monday of the month. Now we're doing the third Monday of the month is the only one. So because of that, we needed to change the language that said when the newly elected people would be sworn into office, or even those of us that are reelected, you have to get sworn in again. So it's just the when we do that, and that's just to reflect the change that we've made to go to 1 meeting a month.
And that was actually in the charter, so it couldn't just have been changed from an ordinance.
No.
2 things about that. Number 1, as I understand it, Ed, and I think many people question this, you went to 1 meeting a month. That helps us from a budget standpoint save money, because our staff time that it takes to prepare for those meetings take away from the daily times that they need to be spending on city business.
Right, and that's a very good way to say that. So it's like, we, as taxpayers, what do we want them spending their money, their time on, and ultimately
Which is
our
our
money,
money.
without a doubt. So they, having to prepare for 2 meetings, spent a lot of their time getting ready for meetings. So what we'd rather have them do is spend that time and our money on dealing with running the city. So if someone has an issue or, just whatever it is that comes up, we want them spending their time on that and not spending their time preparing for meetings.
Which makes total sense. And also it makes sense now as well, I would think, Ed, that the voices of our commissioners now become even more important. That our people can get in touch with you guys to be able to talk through some things because it only gets addressed once a month.
Right, absolutely. I mean, they have all kinds of opportunities to get in touch with us.
That means you, residents.
Yeah, without you.
Residents.
Email us, contact us. I mean, you're always welcome to do that. In fact, one of my meetings this morning was to sit down with a concerned person here in town, and when we had a really good visit, and that went great. But I am always happy to do that, and I know the other 6 up there on there with me, they'll do the same thing. I mean, we're an easy bunch to get a hold of, and we don't mind talking to anybody at all. So.
And great pictures now on the website of all of the commissioners. And I bumped into one having coffee the other day. I bumped into him. We were both waiting for coffee. I was able to take care of some questions that I had right there in the coffee line.
Yeah.
If we can familiarize ourselves with our commissioners, they are open to talk with us.
Absolutely. And we'll run into folks at coffee, at lunch, at church. Go to Walmart, I probably get stopped 10 times. That's okay. I really enjoy visiting with folks, and I know the others feel the same way.
Yeah.
So don't ever be afraid to approach us.
Just step right into it.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so Proposition 4, updating requirements for city employees, that brings us into alignment with the state.
Right.
Aligning conflict of interest policies, Proposition number 5, that takes us into alignment with the state. Now, Proposition number 6, updating the recreational use policy for Shawnee Twin Lakes. Please tell us about that one, Ed.
So that currently it resides in 2 places. It's in the charter and it's in an ordinance. It doesn't need to be in both. And as we talked about, an ordinance can be changed more easily. There's still a very, there is a process that it has to go through. Again, it's in an open meeting. It has to be voted on by all of us, but it is a much more nimble process than having to change the charter. So what we're proposing is that it be eliminated in the charter and it would reside in the ordinances and then will be dealt with there. But the commission and city government is taking the lake very, very seriously, which is why we have that group that's doing the study, and we have a lot of citizens involved in that, and I know we have a commissioner that sits on that. I think maybe 1, maybe 2 commissioners that sit on that, and those people have been, giving updates as that's going on. They have big public open houses, so it's a very public process that it's going through, and that's the way we would continue to do that. And
correct me if I'm wrong, also the city attorney sits on that as well.
He definitely does. And he needs to, because it's going to be a very legalistic thing, as most things are nowadays.
And thus, this again helps our government be a little bit more nimble to make the changes which the populace actually is talking to the commissioners and the city about now that they would like to see out in the lakes area.
Absolutely.
That's again for everyone's benefit. So number 7, also updating policy for cemetery perpetual care is going to be for bringing us more into line with state statutes. And many of you see us referencing these papers. These papers came with your water bills. But if you don't have one of these papers that you can scan the little block that I talked about just a moment ago, just go to the city's home page on your phone. And I think I have a video of that. Let's go ahead and roll that video. And you go to the city's home page. From the city's home page, what you're going to choose is you're going to choose over there government from the top of the home page. From government, it will drop down and you will choose the mayor and city commissioners. It will then drop you to a sub-menu in which you choose 2023 charter election. That's how you navigate it from the home screen. From there, you can click right on the starting guide, and you are going to have access to the information that I have and Ed has right now that we have been talking from through this whole video.
And I know they've been adding more and more of the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, as people have been hitting us with questions. So I know I saw our city manager at my first meeting this morning at 7 o'clock, and she and I talked about that, and she says that they've been updating that, and I know you're talking with her later today, which I guess will air tomorrow, I guess. And so there's lots of good information on there and very easily accessible. So
Yes.
please go out and look at all of that.
And so we do want to invite you to watch our conversations with our city manager tomorrow, which will be Tuesday at around 11:30. We will be speaking with Andrea, and she will be going through some of those frequently asked questions for us, as well as answering any questions we get on this stream or that we come up with prior to. Ed Bolt, Mayor, what else do you want to talk a little bit?
I want to talk a little bit about this if we could, because, one of the questions that have gotten was, so what exactly is that state law language, So, this is a copy of it. I know you won't be able to read that, but that is being added on those FAQs. So people are going to be able to go in and read exactly what that state language is.
Yeah.
So they know exactly what they're voting for. And that's what we want people to have a good understanding of. So,
And if you want to get a hold of that, back up this video just a minute where I showed you the navigation from the homepage. And rather than selecting starting guide there from the vote portal, you can select facts or frequently asked questions. And that's where you will actually be able to receive that language. We'll also be publishing a PDF for you to be able to click on that and see that language.
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Well, that's what we try to do around Shawnee. is We try to
Absolutely.
do great things.
There we go. There's no other way to do things in my mind.
Mayor Ed Bolt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
I know
you,
you're
Daniel.
very busy, and it's just great to have you to speak with all of
Well,
us.
I appreciate the opportunity. I really do. So I know this is going to be very helpful for folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.